Basically, the truth about the Roundway experiment was never meant to see the light of day. Indeed, the information about Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop, the interconnectivity between Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop, Devizes Police, the Defense Intelligence Networks, as well as the Defense Industrial Security Command, was never meant to make it into the public domain. Indeed, I've delineated that there is a connection between Warminster's defense industry surrounding the Warminster military base and the Devizes organ harvesting network coordinated by Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop Butchers. So it's all very interesting to consider. All of these networks are interconnecting indeed. It seems that the Defense Intelligence Services, along with certain segments of MI6 and Wiltshire police operatives, including special branch operatives, have implanted many screen memories in me, i.e., I have memories of being brainwashed by Russian operatives that actually turn out to have been British operatives. Indeed, I was never a GRU operative. Any contract killings I did in Eastern Europe were coordinated through the programming implanted in me by British intelligence, interestingly. So I was effectively operating for British intelligence during my time in Eastern Europe, where I believe I murdered 17 people in mind-controlled assassin hits, basically. So it's all very interesting to consider indeed. It's really awful what is going on here in Wiltshire. What with Wiltshire police attempting to murder me via a hitman of Georgian origin. Indeed, this would most probably be a maniac murder cultist operative in the United Kingdom for 764 networks. Indeed, I delineated how local so-called gangsters in Devizes are actually organized as part of a 764 network, therefore a satanic ritual child abuse circuit. And this is all coordinated by operatives of Devizes Police, who are covering up mass child abuse in Devizes, connected to the Alex Day Circle and the prolific toddler and baby rapist Alex Day, whose target's usually male, and his network of interconnected child rapists such as PC Luca Kerrigan of Devizes Police and PC Kieran Ather of Devizes Police. All of these guys are child rapists protected by the British Crown, so it's all very interesting indeed. This is a Crown operation. Indeed, these child rapists and Devizes are being protected in the interests of national security by the British Crown, not to mention M-Gang, who are operating a satanic child abuse syndicate and sexual exploitation of children network. So it's interesting to consider these individuals such as Police Sergeant Jordan Anning of Devizes Police, PC Josh Dowse of Devizes Police, and PC Callum Keats of Devizes Police. Indeed, it's all very interesting to note. All of these guys are part of an overarching satanic agenda which is being run out of Swindon. Interestingly, this agenda is being run out of Swindon and reaches to the darkest corners of Wiltshire society. Indeed, it's all very interesting to consider that the King Charles, has a personal interest in these satanic networks continuing to operate. Indeed, all of this interconnects with the butchers of Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop, what with one of the 764 network in Devizes, PC Mason Farrington, being a key individual in the organ harvesting operations of the Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop network. It's all very interesting to note all of these synchronicities at play here. So it's all really very strange. Indeed. butcher shop is personally overseen by PC James Spencer, who raped me along with 8 other constables on Monday, the 7th of September 2020, in Melksham Police custody, and has attempted to scrub me from the internet over the years in an attempt to protect the Devizes police force and various Devizes residents from any form of retribution that may occur. It's all very interesting to consider the implantation of screen memories and the falsification of records by British intelligence, especially defence intelligence, that have been done to me over the years. Indeed, they have tried to falsify my records, making me out to be a Russian citizen, which I am not. I'm a British citizen. Indeed, all of the Russian psychosis that I encounter is a part of a very complex mental health condition that seriously challenges me. Indeed, I spin out often into GRU, Russian military intelligence psychosis, and believe I'm operating for the Russian state. Now, this is a part of my programming. Indeed, the entire Russian saga surrounding me is due to mind control programming implemented on me by British intelligence operatives. Indeed, this leads into the Blackwell legacy, whereby Troy Southgate is attempting to frame me as a Russian agent in the same way that in the 1950s Archibald Blackwell of the DVD framed a schizophrenic named Michael, who was coming close to exposing the Roundway experiment, and Michael was locked up in Broadmoor for the rest of his life on a false charge of treason. So it's all very interesting to consider, indeed, the lengths that the intelligence networks connected to the Roundway experiment will go to cover up for the Roundway experiment. It's really quite interesting indeed. The Roundway experiment mostly took place in underground complexes beneath the town of Devizes, most of them beneath the Roundway Asylum, which was known for barbarism and the intense physical torture of mental patients, as well as mind-bending, mind-warping, mind-controlled experiments utilized on the inmates of Roundway Asylum. Though not all patients were chosen for this programming, indeed, the only selected mental patients were chosen. Indeed, these were usually part of the 20 to 30% of mental patients theorized by Itzhak Bentov to be of a higher stage of evolution than the remainder of society, therefore unable to adapt. And indeed, these mental patients were chosen for psychic warfare experimentation and the creation of schizophrenic super spies, but also for really terrible experiments and ritual sacrifice in an ongoing holocaust of mental patients by Masonic networks within the British police and intelligence structure. Indeed, these eugenicists really hate mental patients and are attempting to exterminate the 20 to 30% of mental patients who are of a higher stage of evolution. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, I've stated that insanity allows me to see reality for what it really is. Indeed, the reality concerning the Roundway experiment and various Devizes police black operations is really quite disconcerting and really quite troubling for the mind. And indeed, I believe it is my duty to expose these heinous projects as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to continue to do so. Indeed, Devizes Police's personal operations are coordinated by Police Lieutenant Jerome Butler and Police Superintendent Stephen Nash of Devizes Police, who are chiefly operative for a network of DVD operatives operating out of Leipzig, known as the Steppenwolf faction of SS Obergruppenführer Dietrich Kammler. So it's interesting the current overlays between the modern Roundway experiment and the origins of the Roundway Experiment, which were a network of British and American intelligence operatives operating in communion with Nazi scientists, psychiatrists, programmers, and intelligence operatives to create an overarching mind control program in the basements beneath Devizes, which morphed into the Roundway Experiment as we know it today. And indeed, this Roundway Experiment is ongoing, with regular testing and experimentation going on networks of imported Russian mental patients, the story of which I've delineated in several videos, as well as kidnapped homeless people from around the country, as well as certain British mental patients that are transported to the facilities beneath Roundway Asylum, the Wiltshire Police Headquarters, and various residences within the Devizes town. So it's all very interesting to consider. And indeed, the majority of these test subjects are eventually murdered by butcher's shop Freemasons, and their organs are then harvested and sold on the black market, and their meat is sold as pork in Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop. So large percentages of the Devizes population are addicted to human flesh, which is all very interesting considering their overarching satanic energy. Indeed, there is a large satanic energy force in Devizes, which probably contributes to the females in Devizes being the most cock-hungry females in the United Kingdom. So it's all very interesting to analyze, and it's all very disturbing, really. Sorry. The networks of Devizes Police are operative for the Cecil family also. Indeed, the Cecil family are chiefly the protectors of the monarchy. The Cecil family are a crown bloodline, therefore part of the overarching Aryan Templar network that runs the United Kingdom and handles the monarchy. So it's all very interesting to consider the Cecil bloodline have personal interest in the operations of Devizes Police and the Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop. So indeed, to expose these networks is to basically bring about a national security issue. So indeed, British intelligence are looking for a way to shut me down. And to do this, they've implanted screen memories in me, whereby I spin out into Russian mode. And therefore, Troy Southgate would be able to utilize the Blackwell legacy on me. The Troy Southgate is an operative for the Order of Malta, interestingly, the hospitallers who run the mental health system. So it's interesting to consider Troy Southgate is also an MI5 operative, a Mossad agent, and a Freemason, and is chiefly operative through a network known as the National Anarchist Movement, which is actually a fascist fifth column within anarchism. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, Troy Southgate's network are all ritual child abusers, sacrificers of babies, and operative for various networks interconnected with the Order of Nine Angles, which directly links us to the Lighthouse Network, who want to lobotomize me for the king, basically. It's interesting to consider that the king himself, King Charles III of the United Kingdom, has expressly portrayed his desire that I be lobotomized for threats against the monarchy, basically. Indeed, the Cecil family is starting to take my channel very seriously as I'm getting closer to the identities of various child rapists of British royal family blood, such as Vermin, known to Khan's folk as Cassius Lynch or Cass Lynch, and Alex Day of Devizes. So it's interesting to consider Alex Day is a member of the British royal family. And this is why he received protection from the British royal family for his crimes against children and babies. So it's all very interesting to consider. And it's all a very dark and disturbing and actually truly disgusting story. Indeed, the Mossad have a key interest in Devizes Police's operations continuing to operate because Tel Aviv receives organs from Devizes that are then given to rich Israelis for transplants. So it's all very interesting to consider indeed. The Israeli state has issued directives and a written warning regarding me. So it's all very interesting to consider that I now have problems with the Israeli state. So, but I've also delineated before that Israeli state operatives, i.e., Mossad and Shin Bet operatives, the Israeli foreign intelligence and internal security structures, are themselves operative for DVD elements. So it's interesting to consider that the Mossad and Shin Bet operate for the Fourth Reich agenda. So it's all very interesting to consider indeed. People are confused by me these days as I've changed my politics, but this is part of the progression of life. People do change their ideas indeed. The faith of Ishmael are not wholly guilty of everything that is going on in Devizes. Indeed, this is predominantly an Anglo operation coordinated by British industrial and security concerns, interconnected with Warminster military base. So it's all very interesting that I've now found myself in Warminster, in the vicinity of the Warminster military base, which is up to its eyeballs in interconnected black operations concerning Devizes Police and the Walter Rose and Sons Butcher's Shop syndicate. So it's all very interesting to consider the interconnectivity there. And as I've delineated, the Warminster military base operatives of Defence Intelligence and Defence Industrial Security Command are operating guns for organs and drugs for organs, black operations with Kurdish militants. So it's interesting to consider this overall organ agenda indeed. Devizes Police are running a scheme whereby they say to people that Wilsey is lying, but Wilsey is not lying indeed. Devizes is the centre of the organ trade in Wiltshire, with the nexus of operations being the Walter Rose and Sons Butcher's Shop in Devizes. And indeed, this butcher shop attracts residents in a scale unseen. Indeed, I've never seen anything like it. Indeed, there seems to be such a perverted consciousness to Devizes residents that they all want to get involved in this organ harvesting and organ trafficking scheme operating out of Walter Rose and Sons Butcher Shop, which is all very scary, really. The fact that all of these Devizes people want to become involved in that trade, considering the seediness of that trade. It's interesting to consider that it's all occurring in the direct vicinity of the Wiltshire Police Headquarters, literally in the shadow of the Wiltshire Police Headquarters. Therefore, the Wiltshire Head Crime Commissioner, Philip Wilkinson, has full knowledge and interconnectivity with the Walter Rose and Sons Butcher Shop organ harvesting network. Indeed, I also believe that there is an interlinking child trafficking network interconnected with the Walter Rose and Sons Butcher Shop, whereby children are imported from various nations and then sold to important Wiltshire residents as part of an ongoing trafficking operation which is overseen by Kurdish mobsters and Bengali mobsters, who are themselves incorporated with the Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop through a network of local barbers shops and curry houses. So it's all very interesting to consider this overarching criminalism of Devizes police. Really, it's all very strange, and how this interconnects to the Roundway experiment and the designation of me as TF-84 and my programming as a Nazi when I was never actually a Nazi. Indeed, it was Wiltshire police, various networks of the defense industry, who were brainwashing me to believe I was a Nazi, and then subsequently brainwashed me to believe I was a Russian. So it's all very interesting to consider the fact that there's been screen memories implanted in me as a Russian operative when I'm not a Russian operative, and brainwashing me to convince me that I was a Nazi. So it's all very strange to consider the behavior modification experimentation that the British intelligence services and various networks connected to the defense industry and the Wiltshire Police Force have basically perpetrated on me. Indeed, these ongoing crimes against my mind have seriously fucked up my head, and therefore all I can do now is talk about what they've done to me, and they just want to carry on as if everything's normal and nothing has ever happened, but it has. Wiltshire is now exposed, and the true nature of Wiltshire society is beginning to come to the light of day, beginning to see the light of day. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, Alex Day, the child rapist and baby rapist, operating from Devizes, which is a form of protective custody for him. Indeed, he was smuggled to Devizes by the security services and then set up as a drug dealer by Devizes police, and now operates as a confidential police informant for Devizes police. He has issued ad verbatim a warning to any Devizes residents not to watch my videos. So it's all very interesting to consider that Alex Day threatens young people all the time, attempts to control and coerce the young people in Devizes. So it's interesting to consider what kind of man is Alex Day. He is a pederast with a predilection for young boys, usually under the age of 4, and babies. So it's interesting to consider the fact that this guy is Devizes police's personal drug dealer and is a undercover police informant and confidential police snitch and a pederast of the worst scale. So it's interesting to consider what these people are about in Devizes and the lengths they will go to protect the Devizes police ring and the associated Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop. Indeed, it's really quite concerning the extents that they're going, utilizing defense intelligence in Warminster to set me up in a test, i.e. a mind control experiment reminiscent of the 1960s series The Prisoner. So it's all very interesting the lengths that they are prepared to go to protect a butcher's shop and a load of redneck child raping policemen. So it's all very interesting indeed. I'm going to leave it there now. So